It's not your first rodeo, obviously, as we've established, in answering the bell in the middle of a game and having to go out there. But this is the first time it's ever happened in a playoff game. What was going through your temples when Wentz clearly needed to head to a blue tent on Sunday, Josh?
Right. Yeah. It's the nature of kind of these this quarterback room. You sit there and all year you're getting close, knowing each other, working together, trying to find ways to win. Had some dark moments sitting there with our back against the wall, and at 4-7, and then winning those last games and finding a way. And so seeing everything that Carson's put into it, you're sitting there and watching him kind of go through, trying to get his, mind right and feel better and waiting to see what the doctors say and stuff. So your heart's torn, because you want him to be okay, because it's my friend and it's a guy that I've watched work really hard to get to this moment, especially given the recent history, in his career. And so you have to shift from that mind to, okay, I got to go play and I got to go be there for my team and I got to go execute this game plan. And so it's a little bit of a dichotomy there, but once, he headed to the tent, I grabbed the helmet, took some practice snaps. Your mind is, okay, let's go play. And you shift the focus to what do we have to do to try to win this game.
And obviously you don't know at that point in time if the game is yours for the rest of the day. When did you learn that fact?
Right, yeah. I think after the second series, kind of came back. And because usually and it happened earlier this year in Atlanta, where they came and they checked him. I went in. He actually came back in the middle of the drive. I went in 5 or 6 plays, and then I'm sitting there getting ready to call the next play, and I get a tap on the shoulder in the huddle. And he's like, "Hey, I'm back." So I head back to the sideline. So I kind of had that in my mind, like, okay, maybe he's going to be come running out any minute and get me out of this thing. But after the second series I was in there, like, it doesn't look like he's coming back. So it's just, your mind is just settled in at that point to, okay, let's go the rest of the way and get this thing done.
Did you at any point go up to Doug Peterson and say, let's do the Philly special? Did you ever say that to him?
No. That's always, in the mix, I'm sure. Within the possibility of things to be called. And I certainly wasn't afraid to take that if it came down to that. But the way the game flowed, it didn't come to that. But yeah, you never know.
Well, I mean, and again, through Josh McCown, Eagles quarterback here on the Rich Eisen Show, after filling in for Carson Wentz in the playoff game on Sunday. So, do you guys talk about the Clowney hit? Have you guys talked about it? Think about whether that was dirty, out of bounds? Where do you stand and your teammates on that subject right now, Josh?
Yeah, obviously those things get discussed, and you're talking about 50-something locker room, and so the opinions are going to vary. Unfortunately, when you lose a playoff game and you kind of have the final meeting on Monday, it's not like another week of work where you have this ongoing conversation. I've seen the hit a few times, and I hate assuming that people play with ill will or move with ill intentions. And I'd like to think that guys go out and they compete as hard as they can and they play as hard as they can. And unfortunate things happen. Looking at the hit and looking at the angle of his head and stuff like that, when you see it in slow motion and from different angles, when a big guy's head gets that low to the ground, I think, again, those are things that we're probably trying to eliminate from the game. And so I hope that moving forward, we can continue to focus on that and make the game safer. And that would be my opinion on that. But like I said, I hate to assume that Jadeveon was going with an ill intent. But this is a physical game, and I understand that. And we talk about it on both sides of the coin as far as playing the game physical and wanting to play as hard as you can. And we, our defensive guys are coached to play that way. And, so it's both sides, and it was unfortunate. And again, I don't know his heart. I hope that's not the case. And more than anything, I hope that the league can continue to look at this thing, with a fine-tooth comb, go through it and make sure that we're getting these things right so that we keep our game as safe as possible.
Do you think players would be good with the league adopting what college does, which is even if there is no flag on the play, like there was not on Sunday with the Clowney hit of your teammate, that an eye in the sky would buzz down and say, let's take a look for targeting and eject a player through a replay. Do you think the NFL players would be fine with that?
Well, I mean, I think over time, like if instances like this keep popping up where you have such a split opinion, and maybe it's not a split, but you have it gets talked about, like you and I are discussing it now. If it's one of these things that it didn't draw a flag, and you know what I mean, if this keeps happening where maybe we're missing some of these things and we're not getting it right, then absolutely. I think then we need to, just like we've done to introduce on the medical side a spotter so that we protect the player, and we should do that through the gameplay as well, because if you're going to say that it's post hit, we want to protect the player. Well, let's do everything we can to do it before the incident happens, and maybe having that in there would encourage that, because at the end of the day, they've made it clear. They've said they're trying to take the head and the use of force with the helmet out of the game. They've made that clear, and so if you're going to do that, then do it as best you can, and maybe that's a step that would get that done.
For more of The Rich Eisen Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV for free on BR Live, or download The Rich Eisen Show app.